Back in the days when I was a teenager, before I had status and before I had a pager, you could find the abstract listening to hip hop. My pops used to say they did remind him of bebop. I said, well, Daddy, don't you know the thing's going cycle? Where the Bobby Brown is just amper like Michael. It's all expected. Thanks for the looking. If you got the money, tribe is for the booking. Come on, everybody, let's. I'm in my Tribe Called Quest thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I got my jacket. You know how you got to play your little winter stuff before it get too warm. I don't know, man. I just put on this jacket and I just had this Tribe Called Quest vibe, man. But, unfortunately, man, I want to talk about something that's finna trigger a lot of people. I might lose friends, might lose family. Some of the things I might say, it might shock some people. Some people may be offended. But it's got to be said, man. Let's get into it.
Equality versus equity. Equality means every child gets a pair of shoes. Equity means every child gets a pair of shoes that fit. That means every school district has to meet every student's individual needs.
I'm Jerry O'Green with the Black Student Advocate. We advocate for black employees and black students within the K through 12 school districts. We hold school districts accountable to make sure that black students and employees are in a fair and equitable workplace.
Peace. Welcome back to another installment of Humanity Works podcast, man. I am the host, Jihad Messiah Youssef. Let me go ahead and pull that hoodie off right there. Let me get it comfortable. Yeah, first of all, man, I just want to give a shout out for everybody that's been supporting the show, man, these last couple of weeks, man. I had some great guests on. You know, the show really started to take off, man, when Kimberly Reyes came on. She talked about maternity rates and deaths of black children in the hospital and the things that black women were facing, black mothers. However, you know, with this show and this platform being about humanity, she not only just cared about black mothers, but she said all colors, all races, all ethnicities of mothers need to be more concerned and pay more attention, like when you're in institutions, when you're giving birth. Also, recently, just as a couple of days ago, I had my very own cousin, Greg Jackson, on here, who spoke on some things that are deeply rooted in our culture as a community, spirituality, and how the link to fathers missing in the homes, man, is like one of the common denominators to all the situations that we're dealing with for people bringing childhood trauma bonds into their adulthood. It's a very real thing, man. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Excuse me. That is so rude, man. I had some Popeyes today, and how ironic that this show is going to be talking about, you know, just kind of escaping the culture of blackness, rising above this madness, which is called black culture, right? You know, I say this often about making an exodus, and many people don't even know what the definition of exodus is. But pretty much it's a group of people, a large group of people, just making an exit, taking a road out, you know, abandoning something or leaving a place. But what I want to talk about, the exodus that we need to make, is from black culture. And black culture is actually a mindset. It's a condition that we need to escape like ASAP. It's the most horrendous, silly, stupid, pitiful thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. And for many years, I was a part of black culture and didn't even realize it. However, much of what I talk about on this platform really comes from the works of Neely Fuller Jr., who was the author of the United Independent Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, concept, workbook, textbook for victims of white supremacy, for thought, speech, and actions. And if you don't consider yourself a victim of white supremacy, then pretty much what I have to say on this podcast and this platform, it really won't apply to you. You shouldn't even concern yourself with it. As well as being inspired by the late, great, brilliant Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, which I call my daily Bible, which is the ISIS Papers. However, I had to shift the platform because I don't want to just directly talk about it. I want to give people context and help those who are confused to understand what white supremacy is as a system and how it's dominating us in all 9 areas of people activity: in economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So people are always asking me the question, you always talk about black culture, rising above this madness, which is called black culture. What is black culture? Culture is something simply that you do. And when I ask people every day, what do black people do? And my answer is going to be the same with the code. Black people's number one priority every single day as a culture of people is showing off to other black people. Can't show off to white folks. White folks, they create and produce too many things for you to impress them. You know, they study the universe and the planet. They're typically people who are constructive, who read, right? Not to say that black people don't do these things, but what are you going to tell them? What are you going to talk to them about as far as something that they don't already know? So when we talk about black culture, let's get into I want to get into some things that we just need to abandon ASAP. And I do mean ASAP. And culture is simply something, when I ask the question, how does it work against white supremacy and solve the problem? I'm a firm believer, based on evidence, that the number one dominating factor in all the lives of non-white people, especially those here in the concept called America, it is the system of white supremacy. I will never sway from that. I will never run from that. And so anytime you grace this platform, I want to speak on things to help empower us. I don't want to respond to racism. I want to counter it so we can have more productive lives and be at peace and not be induced into mental illness because we don't understand what's going on, because we're not getting the results out of life that we were said that we were always get if we did and done particular certain things. Now, with that being said, brothers, this is a place where we bring a sexy back to the everyday hardworking men and women who impact your life within close proximity, rising above this madness, which is called black culture. And I challenge you each and every single day of your life as black men to do self-evaluation, to become self-determined, to better yourself for the sole purpose of being better fathers. There is no other purpose that I see as far as life is concerned that concerns me more than that. And this is something that we need to do. However, some of these things that I'm about to get into, man, I'm going to run down a list of things that we just need to abandon as a people, as a culture, almost ASAP. First thing I want to talk about, hypersocial behavior and the need to be around other black people. You know, it's funny how a lot of times if somebody hits the lottery, somebody has a good day at work, they get a bonus check, or it's just feeling good about life and just woke up on the right side of the bed. The first thing that most black people want to do is go find other black people. And when you go around other black people, what is it that you're going to do? You're just going to hang around. You're going to shoot the shit. You're going to light a blunt. You're going to get drunk. And then what's the result from that? What's the constructive result behind doing that? Because typically, usually around that time, there's going to be a fight. A fight typically leads to a killing. We go to hang around each other for the sole purpose to do what? You know, how many beach parties do you have to go to? How many pool parties do you have to go to? How many hookah lounges, a cigar? How many times a week must you grace places of idle energy and idle time and talking about nothing? The one thing that I suggest that we do as a people, we have to begin to learn to stay away from one another. Now, when I first heard this concept according to the code, I didn't understand it myself, but these days I do. And it's not to say that we shouldn't come together as a collective, as a people, to support one another, to be kind, to be humane amongst one another. But we don't need to be around each other, especially with the high levels of hostility. So what's the purpose of being around each other? If we're not coming around to speak about the problem of racism and coming up with solutions, which should be an everyday thought in all non-white people's mind, then what's the purpose of going around people? Now, listen, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't get out and enjoy life. And every now and then, there's nothing wrong being around people. You know, when you're in a good place and good environment, especially if it's a family trip, the energy, it's a great thing. But every single day, there's one thing that you can do to avoid conflict, and that's not making any contact. And that's according to the code. No contact, no conflict. So the hypersocialization, it has to stop. Don't be over social with other people. If you're going to be in contact with anything on an each and every day basis, be in contact with your own thoughts. Be in contact with the self. Be in contact with the ideas and things that you want to do to help create a better life for you and your family and your children. You know what I mean? And so that's what that means. There's no need to be around each other all the time, every day. The next thing, social media challenges that do not solve problems. Listen, this all started, I remember years ago with I think it was the ALS challenge, where and I'm for anything that can help people solve a problem when it comes to illness and medical situations. But it started with people dumping buckets of ice on their head. I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Then, there were challenges where people would take so many shots. And then there were challenges where people dealt with guns. Then there was the crate challenge. People walk up on crates. You name it, we've done the stupidest, dumbest ass challenges that don't mean a hill of beans. It was just to get attention. It was just for the sole purpose of acting silly and stupid. Now, people say, well, I go to social media for entertainment just to have fun. In our situation, in the reality that we have, how much time and how many days will you dedicate to just wanting to be entertained, to just want to laugh, or just wanting to dance? We have serious, real problems. Walking around like you living your best life is the greatest form of mental illness and delusion that we are dealing with as a people. So one thing, if we're going to challenge each other and we're going to take the social media, which is a very powerful tool, then we must use it to solve a problem. Solve a problem with our communities to keep the youth, the violence, the level of violence of youth. We need to quell these things. The disrespect, the way we rob and steal and kill for one another. That should be the number one challenge that we should put out to each other on the social media handle. And people always say black people are stupid and dumb. We're not stupid and dumb. I always say energy is applied where the value exists. And if we all got on the same algorithm with the same thoughts of solving problems to better our lives, if we all did this as one, the system would crumble overnight. And you know how I know this is true? Because the way that we teach each other how to dance, how that dance will sweep from New York on a Friday night and will be in LA by Saturday morning, and everybody on tone and on pitch with it, lets me know we have the high intelligence level to get on one accord to solve the most important problem in our lives. So social media challenges is something that we just really need to rid ourselves. And I'm likely led to believe that social media is really a big enemy and a tool used upon us. And I got off TikTok once I found out that China owns TikTok, and they kind of control how Americans think and their emotions and the anxiety, and they kids don't even watch it. I deleted TikTok. Even my daughter talking about a TikTok challenge. I be damned. If we're going to do anything, we're going to challenge ourselves to become a constructive people who solve problems without creating problems. The next one, small talk and thinking. This is a major problem. This is a big time problem. And I hate to say this, but I could only be me. I'm in quite a few groups, whether it's basketball, whether it's investment, whether it's coaching, whether it may be the job. And nowhere are black men and black people talking. Well, excuse me. I can't say nowhere. I apologize. That is not true. That is not correct. But the majority of the brothers ain't talking about shit. We're passionate. If we had the same passion we had towards sports, and I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about sports. This is what we do. This is our outlet. Most of us are former athletes. We're going to always be passionate about sports. But if we were just as passionate about sports to solve problems, we become some very powerful individuals. But a lot of times the talk is dealing with women, or what happened at the club, you know what I'm saying? Or, trying to do something, put some type of vain object on your car, or the clothes that we wear. You know what I mean? Just stupid, silly shit. Who was fighting last night at the club? Just small talk, rumors, lies, slandering one another. In the way that we think. Thoughts are way too small. I don't answer the phone. Listen, my phone hardly rings, and I don't have a problem with that because I'm not picking up the phone to have an idle conversation. The very few people that I talk to, we have high level conversations. As that brother 19 Keys, and shout out to 19 Keys because I love his platform as well, and shout out to the Pivot. But that brother's always about high level conversations. We have to have high level conversations. Those conversations could be surrounded about being better fathers and parenting. Those conversations could be surrounded about, showing each other how we can, fix around our house, what do they call it? Home repair, things we could do better with our cars to keep our cars sturdy, going over a friend's house to help him paint his house. Let's get our thoughts high. Let's raise up out of this boy mentality where we're not talking about anything that's going to impact our lives. Let's stop talking about things that can't help our children. When a person comes to me and they talk to me, I need to know about how I can be better with money. I need to know about the next investment. I have a friend of mine. She pays attention, and I hate to say this. I don't hate to say this. She pays attention to white people for the sole purpose of knowing when the next investments and where the next digital trend is coming. And that is very smart. That is highly intelligent. But anything outside of that, if you call me talking about, do I want to go down to the damn a rapper having a major pool party, you would get hung up on. If you calling me to talk about some dumb shit, or you always got bad news, or you always got some depressing news, or you call to talk to me about somebody, you would get hung up on. If your only conversation is only worried about, how many points LeBron James did or didn't score, why he got swept, you would get hung up on. I don't care about conversations like that. I want to get deeper with life. There's a lot of things at my age I still don't know, and I need to learn. So a lot of my teachers have went from the pro-black community to those who understand basic essentials and survival for life. And that's a conversation that we need to be having. Let's get out of this small talk. You have to challenge yourself to pay attention to high-level things that mean something in life. All this other stuff is just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy, and it's a waste of emotions. So if you're going to call me, we're going to have a conversation. Let the conversation be high level. Let's uplift and encourage one another. And if you call me with some situations or a problem, help me to solve it, or as I'll try to help you do the same. Let's be problem solvers, all right? Moving on to the next. Premature, empty celebrations. Now, listen, man. I was watching the video the other day, and shout out to all the graduates, 2023, the graduates, and those in the future. But all that screaming, all that dancing, all that hollering, man, y'all stop that bullshit today. Because you screaming. Listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make this real crystal clear and plain. As advanced as the world has become and society is, a kid graduating high school ain't shit. It's no big deal. And I know a lot of y'all say, well, we black people, we go through hard times. We go through hard times because we don't want to solve the problem that's impacting our lives. I don't even want to hear that argument. Well, black people got it hard. We make it hard for ourselves. We make it hard for our children. You understand? Most of the challenges these graduates have didn't even have nothing to do with the school system. It had something to do with your funky ass as a parent. And I hate to be zesty like that. I shouldn't say zesty. That's the wrong word. I shouldn't be spicy or saucy like that. But I mean that shit. Most of their challenges were you and family members. But if they graduate, it's no big deal. All they screaming and how that's stupid. And then the kid graduates, and then what? What if y'all have set up for him? You got a job to walk him into? How much money have you saved for him? Is he going to go to school and complete his degree? Or is he just going to be another kid we're going to be seeing working at fast food, unfulfilled with life, and going in there with a badass attitude, and all I want is a Coke with light ice? Talk to me, people. Or how somebody becomes the CEO of a white-owned company. That is nothing to celebrate. It's an accomplishment, it's an achievement, but on whose standard, according to whose I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it just depends on who you ask what is really something to celebrate and what is not, because that to me is not impressive. If I get promoted tomorrow, like let's say if I was a GM of a conglomerate white-owned company, if I get promoted tomorrow to a general manager or a GM, that's not impressive. So what? That's not history. That's not a legacy that you control or own. It's just simple progress. It's access, and most of those people who are getting those positions, they're carefully handpicked and selected. If we come up with an idea or something, or just like if somebody comes up with a cure for cancer, there's no need to celebrate 30 years. Say, hey, we were supposed to do. That's just like when teams beat a team that they weren't supposed to beat. I see it all the time in college football, basketball. It's an upset. Upset to who? You're supposed to know that you can beat anybody and defeat anybody that's in front of you any given day, and take the same thing with life. Too many celebrations for nothing. I got divorced. I'm celebrating. You know what I mean? I got my master. Let me tell you something about what my cousin said. Man, this was so powerful. My cousin Greg Jackson, that was just on the show. You know, people celebrating, talking about, I got my master's degree. Yes, you have your master's degree. I'm going to say it again. You have your master's degree. It ain't your degree. These people will never teach you what they know. You only going to know so much as you further your education. Small petty celebrations, these things gotta stop. Lil Junebug got out of graduation. There ain't no need for adults to throw a party to get drunk. Just celebrating for nothing. I got a LLC. I started my business. That's nothing. That you're supposed to do that. Because I've been guilty of that. Nobody ever checked me. I had to really check myself. Be low key. I know so many people doing stuff on the low. Those are the people who speak the loudest to me. They ain't pubbing this stuff all over social media. They're not throwing a whole block party. You know what I mean? We went 2 weeks with no violence. It's time to celebrate. No, it's not. Continue to go more months and years with no violence. Stop all the premature celebration. We have nothing to celebrate. Black excellence is dependent on who you call and who you ask what black excellence is. I define black excellence as us as a people solving problems to be able to control our own destiny without European interference or assistance. Now, where does that exist? Black excellence ain't the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. That's not black excellence, right? You know, just little small, minor, petty things like that. You know, becoming the first, he's the first person to have a burger stand set up in Bensonhurst or something like that. That's not history. That's nothing to celebrate. Let's stop the petty celebrations and get serious and real about life. The only time we should celebrate is if we can figure out the problem, how to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice. You know what I mean? When these babies get out here and they learn how to solve problems and they come to you with a magnificent idea, that is something to celebrate. When you coach a team of girls at the 6U level in softball, and they start out kind of rough and don't understand things, but by the time they get to 8U, they figure it out. They're poised, mentally stable and skilled. That's something to celebrate. That's progress, right? You don't celebrate the championship. You celebrate the progress of kids understanding and getting things. And that's the same thing with life. Too many celebrations over nothing, man. Let's just stop it, please. You got a new job today. There's nothing to celebrate. You got a new job. Because 9 times out of 10, you do all that celebrating and you don't never save up no money and you live in check to check. Premature celebrations, that's got to end. Let's move on to the next one. Stop immortalizing entertainers and athletes. Have we noticed that every legacy that we honor, every legacy that black people have, that we love, cherish, and admire, it's all athletes and entertainers? Why don't we love and cherish our problem solvers? Why don't we love and cherish our freedom fighters? What happened to us? When Malcolm passed, streets had droves of black people to pay respects. When Martin passed, streets had droves of people nationwide. They tore it up. But we ain't that people no more. Even in those days, our athletes stood up for social causes. But nowadays, you know what I mean? Like, no pun intended. How does a rapper pack an auditorium before those who lay down their lives each and every day for us, those who are being sought after by the FBI, those who are behind bars for black identity extremist charges, fighting for us, those who are trying to encourage us to be better people with our diet and with our health? How come we don't celebrate those people? How come they are not our icons? Right? And there's nothing wrong with loving your athletes and entertainers, but we're immortalizing these people and they don't mean nothing as far as solving our problems. They don't. They don't spend money with you. You spend money with them wearing their jerseys, going to their movies. But how does that impact and change the quality of your life? It doesn't, and it never will. Every time there's been a civil unrest in the black community in America with major headlines, with major news, you know who they always put on CNN and Fox? A comedian, an athlete, an actor. But when it comes to the other ethnicities and other communities, they put the most scientific, most smartest, mathematical people are to solve their problems. And you know why they do this? Because they know we value sports and entertainment so much that all they have to do is paint on the court, Black Lives Matter, or in the end zone in the NFL, end racism. And we just think that's just the end all be all and that they care about our struggle when they absolutely do not. They just know that we're a people whose emotion first, logic second. Let's stop immortalizing and putting these figures bigger than what they are. They get paid to enjoy life, and that's good for anybody who makes it to professional sports or actors. You know, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I love sports. I love baseball. By the way, baseball is the greatest sport ever. You know, I go to the movies every now and then. I like Denzel Washington. He's hands down my favorite actor. He's never played a bullshit role. He's always been in roles that made him intelligent, that made him sexy and masculine, that made him a leader, that made him smart. You understand what I'm saying? And he has a nice friend. Those are my type of actors that I like. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we shouldn't keep immortalizing these people. They are who they are. We can love them for all they want. But I suggest today that we have to really learn how to immortalize and cherish and admire those who are fighting on the front lines for us every day. Because you know what? An actor, he's only going to be on that movie set for so many months. An athlete always has a season. Comedians tour but for so long. But the freedom fighters and those who are fighting for your rights, whether it's in government, everyday politics, in your local magistrate court, whatever, they fight nonstop. So that we need to change that culture and that value in our community, and we need to do it fast and ASAP. That is the bullshit madness that is called black culture. Next, dating overload. Why? If we ain't the most people that want to be booed up, like, honestly, and you go on these, I tried online dating, it's the corniest shit ever, right? But it puts you there, right? The one thing, I'm sorry, y'all, with this gas. Again, I had Popeyes, and that's some real nigga shit. So I apologize. I shouldn't be eating Popeyes. I should be eating fruits, nuts, and cranberries, and plums, peaches, pears, bananas, and mangoes, and watermelon, and water. I got caught. So anyway, but basically, man, we got this thing where if you look at what we talk about, what other community talks about love and dating and marriage and women ain't shit and men ain't shit? Who talks about that more than us? I don't see it. Because when I pay attention to other communities and other, like I try to change the algorithm on social media and they still send me the bullshit. I like to follow tech. I follow pages like tech. I follow pages like hunting. I follow gun pages. I follow pages with hiking, right? But when you follow us as a people, we're constantly talking about love and marriage, wanting to find somebody, black love and all this, right? Here's the thing. The corniest shit I always see with us as a people. What is your purpose of wanting to be with somebody? Why do you want to be married? And I'm not against marriage. I'm not anti-marriage. I'm asking you the question. What is it with us and just having to have that counterpart in your life when you don't even have yourself together? And a lot of y'all women talking about, I'm dating with a purpose. How you going to date with a purpose and you don't know your damn purpose? And then you get with somebody that don't know their purpose and y'all hate each other. Y'all can't stand one another. Hate you met each other. Listen. Nobody should ever be your sole purpose for living. This is my firm belief, and this is me. And I'm not speaking for everybody. I don't believe you come into this life for the purpose to find love. I believe you come in this life for the purpose of solving a problem with a gift and a talent that you came pre-genetically coded to do. Like people who can sing and play the piano and stuff. Like I forgot to mention my cousin Antoine in the last episode. I watched this dude play pianos, drums, bass guitars, lead guitars with no lessons. That's a gift. People who can draw, take a pencil and make an image on paper with no stencil. That's a gift. So you're here to solve problems. And I always say, and Alpha Male Strategies always breaks this down because, he talks about a lot of, stuff as far as like how men should conduct themselves with women. Shout out to Alpha Male Strategy. But at the end of the day, he always says, if you fall in love with your purpose, you're going to find the purpose to fall in love with you. And this is very true. This dating overload, and see, let's just keep it real. Y'all looking for love in 50s and 60s when you could have been doing that your whole life. But black culture tells you that if you have a figure, if you think you a bad bitch, or if you think you that guy, you don't never want to settle down. You want to get all that you can get, because how can one person encompass all of this beautiness, all of this sexiness? That's black culture. And we used to laugh at Mexican couples who walk in old Taco Bell with they holding hands, but their community is so strong. The family's together and the children thrive beautifully. And then eventually the babies grow up that you have to call on them for them to fix your car or your house. But we laughing at them because we thought it was corny about, us being about relationships. Everybody got about individualism. And Rob Love always said that we were the 90s. We were the worst parents. We changed the culture, and we did. And I'm a part of that generation. Listen, I hang myself before I hang anybody else. But this dating overload, dating for what? Like at this point, especially with the women, y'all Jennies, all y'all 50, 60-year-old women talking about you want love and you got all these demands. You're a Jenny. What a Jenny is a woman who knows she's been beautiful all her life, always had men, always had curves, refused to settle down, refused to get married. But then when you hit your 60s and your late 50s and your health is declining and you gaining weight and you don't have that same figure and you don't look the same no more and guys ain't checking for you no more, now you want more. Bullshit. You're a Jenny. Just like from the movie Forrest Gump, Jenny, she was turned up in them streets the whole movie. But then when she caught cancer, was dying out, all of a sudden she wanted to marry Forrest Gump, have a kid. That's a Jenny. And a lot of y'all are Jennies. So at the end of the day, this dating overload, at this point, if you close to my age, it's almost pointless. Because you ain't finna tell me you ain't never met a good man. And a lot of y'all brothers ain't gonna tell me you ain't met a good woman. She wants to get married because she ain't the bad bitch no more. The titties are sagging, and now you want to get married because you can't get it up no more. You're basically not working, so now you want to be married. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I'll tell you no lies tonight, bro. So, this dating overload, that's something that we have to stop doing as a people. Be more about your business. Hell, I can't even, listen, man, if I tell a woman that, listen, I'm chilling tonight, I don't want to do nothing, I'm working on my book, my podcast, in their mind, they actually think that I'm just telling them that because I got plans to get with another chick. And that to me is a trauma fucking bond to where you think everybody is just got to be about somebody else. I don't give a fuck about dating. And I really don't even really care about trying to be booed up or be dating like that. I just don't, man. I have more purpose in life than to be worried and caught up chasing ass. And when some of y'all figure that shit out, man, and you find a purpose in life, man, you ain't gonna say no shit like dating with a purpose because you have a purpose. People gonna admire you. Why you think we love celebrities? Celebrities don't even pay attention to you. We love them for what they're good at doing. It's the same thing with life. Somebody's gonna love you for what you're good at doing and not even paying attention to them, but they're paying attention to you. Let's stop this dating overload, man. Overload yourself in solving problems and be good at something that you know you're skilled to do. Let me move on. No recreation, no exercise. Growing up as a 70s baby, man, I never saw obesity at the level I did now. I remember years ago when I first started, I was in the trash industry for like 10, 12 years. And I remember, man, when I was working in St. Louis, I used to have to go way out to O'Fallon to St. Peter's, right? We start our route early in the morning, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. And I would see nothing but white women out there running and jogging. Sometimes they have strollers with their babies. And I can recall for a minute there, a lot of black women wasn't on that shit because they didn't want to fuck up their hair. But now you look at nowadays and, a lot of women that I've dated, I used to try to tell them, hey, look, man, be your best self. Somebody who I considered a good brother, somebody that cared about me, told me the truth about myself one day. We was on our way to work. And he was like, Red, you got the mind of God, but the body of a nigga. And my stomach was sticking way the hell out. Now, for some reason, when he told me that, man, it hit with me. And I got on my journey to get rid of that gut, to strengthen up. You know what I mean? To get my body firm. Just because I was getting older don't mean I had to stop. They say movement is medicine. And me and my peers in my hoop group, man, a lot of us in our, late 40s, early 50s, and we got a saying that as long as the light is on, keep going. And I'm encouraging men and women, as long as the light is on, keep going. There's no reason to just gain weight for no reason and then walk like a dinosaur as you get older. Now, the only exception are the elders. You know what I mean? Because at some point we do slow down, and only the elders get that pass from me. Man, I don't have any uncles left, man, just one. But, my uncles were still around, you know what I'm saying? And if they don't move the same as a nephew, I owe them service. My aunts, if they don't move the same or whatever, I owe them service. But for all y'all young people, I'm talking about y'all in y'all 30s and 40s. There's no excuse for you not to be in that gym getting in shape. And I'm not criticizing people because I do understand sometimes people take medication that blow up their body. I get this. I do understand this. So I'm not trying to be not being sensitive and not having any compassion. But we have to get this. We have to get this straight. It's like everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I see guts, stomachs. Like, y'all don't see that shit. Like, it bothers me. Like I currently was hurt again. I was down again for like almost 2 months, and I went from 216 to 230. When I went to the doctor's office, I almost wanted to cry. You know what I mean? I wish I could get up and move. I wish I can get up and be mobile. I don't want to see a gut on my body. So I get up, I exercise, and I do what I have to do to maintain recreation and being in shape. And being in shape and eating correctly can really curtail a lot of problems that our community is like really dealing with. It like bothers the hell out of me. So many people dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, blood sugar. Like, where is this stuff coming from? And I truly believe a lot of it's in the food. I don't believe people are just out here just practicing bad ethics, but we don't. We all are guilty of eating wrong and eating bad, right? And the food ain't getting no better. So the one thing that we have to do is more recreation, more exercising, more meditation. And as for me, y'all, I told y'all I've gotten involved with this yoga life. I ain't gonna never leave this yoga life. Let's get involved in things like yoga, Tai Chi. My dad's doing Tai Chi. Rooster, I'm proud of you. My mama getting out there doing their thing. Chair yoga. Mom, I'm proud of y'all. And I'm encourage y'all to do the same, man. So let's get back healthy. Let's continue to move because movement is medicine. Next, not having life insurance. Yo, my dad used to even tell me stories like when he sold insurance, how Black people just didn't believe what he knew he was talking about. They thought he was scamming. As soon as a white man come, they buy the insurance. And even to this day, you know, brother Joe Walton, you can look him up on IG, Facebook. He sells life insurance. Nicolette Kennedy thinks she's with Prime America. Michelle Garnett back in St. Louis. You know, I need y'all to hit these people up for life insurance. My dog Gilbert Postel, he's on Facebook. If you're looking for insurance agents, listen, it makes no sense at all not to have life insurance. That is crazy to me. If it's one thing I'm thankful for my father growing up out the gate, he was about life insurance. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, man, you know, I'm going to live forever. I don't need life insurance. And clearly that's not the case. We all got to go. We're all going to go. But one way of showing love to your children, whether you had a good relationship with your child, with your children or not, or whether, you know, they gave you hell, the one way of showing love when you're no longer here is knowing that daddy didn't put us into debt, putting him in the ground. Mama didn't put us in debt, putting us in the ground. And there was a little cash left over for them to kind of move on with life, do what they need to do. You know, maybe want to use it to put down on the house and get a car. Leave the love behind. Leave LTL. Leave the love behind. That's one way of expressing your love without even being here in the physical anymore. Now, I know a lot of people go in on people who do GoFundMes, but I think a lot of times people go in on people who do GoFundMe because you the same people we watch with the flash Jordans. You always got Rams on your car. You always got the latest iPhone. Got a shitload of Polo, Gucci, and Prada. You know, always taking trips and flying, but you didn't have no life insurance. And then you want to start a GoFundMe for everybody else to pick up the cost of what you could have picked up on from all the money you've been spending your whole life. This has got to stop. And you know what? I had a show when I first started a podcast, and one of the most critical shows I did was on life insurance. I don't know. I believe it was Sister Michelle Garnett has said that if every black man had $1 million policy on them, police killers would stop because that money has to get paid out. That's some deep science, and I believe she said that. And it might have been Nicolette Kennedy. I could be wrong. But I'm gonna give both of them sisters they flowers because they was on point when they came on the show. We want to keep in mind, man, life insurance is critical. This is something we absolutely must stop doing in our communities, right? We too much about the show and tell, but on the deep side, on the inside of things, a lot of people, man, they just don't have it together. It's okay to let people struggle and let you know, we got this thing about we want to fake it till we make it. Nah, bro, listen, I ain't rich. I ain't got a lot of clothes. I might have a few hoop shoes. I ain't gonna hold you. Y'all that know me. But listen, man, I try to be as smart as possible with my finances. I struggle. Even at 50, I struggle. I'm up and down with it. You know, really no situation because it's self-inflicted. But you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, inflation, setbacks. But one thing I got life insurance. If something happens to me, my folks taken care of. And that right there, I go to sleep in peace and knowing this thing. And I think I have like a couple of policies. One since I've been little with my dad and my own and even my children, man. So people, let's get this life insurance game on lock. I gave you the names of the people, man, who I told you that you could look up and reach out to them for life insurance. Not only that, some of them do help you to invest financially and get your finances together. All right. So people, let's get the life insurance, man. Passing trauma bonds down to your children. A lot of us raised our children the way we were raised. And there are a lot of things in our community that was toxic. One of the things that I think that we need to stop doing with our children is stop yelling so much. And this is something we inherited. Because guess what? You know, mom and dad yelled at you. Right? Get your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? They yelled at you. They snatched you up. Your teacher will yell at you. Right? Sometimes your aunts and uncles will yell at you. Your coach, your baseball coach, your basketball coach, they yell at you. For some reason, we thought this is a form of powerful communication, you know. And then the one thing about it is, the police will yell at you if you have an interaction with the police, or should I say race soldiers. And then when you go to church on Sunday, when the preacher caught the spirit, what did he start doing? Some people say hoofing, but he started yelling at you. We have to stop yelling at our babies. Whatever our failures were, whatever broke our heart, we can't give this to our children. We can't put that disappointment on our children. Allow your children the opportunity to give them an open door to come talk to you about the things that you might be doing that might be infecting them. You understand what I'm saying? What your dad did to you, you shouldn't do it to your child. The love your mother didn't give to you, you don't hold that love from your own child. You have trauma bonds that you're dealing with since a child, and little do you know that you're inflicting some of that hurt and pain on your own children, and you don't even realize it. And then when they get old and grown, you realize they don't call you, they don't come around as much. I really strongly suggest that you take a closer look at the way you're raising and parenting your children. Show more love, show more compassion, show more understanding. Yeah, they not built like us. I'm a 70s baby. They're not built like us, but are they supposed to be? And let's just keep it a buck, man. What if we had social media around when we were young? Will we really be that much more better than they are today? Will we really want to expect the adults to have more compassion and understanding for some of the mistakes that we made? And again, there's a song by Blink 182, and this guy used to say in this one song, I can't remember, but he said if the children are fucked up, then we're the ones to blame. And I find it to be a very true statement based on the evidence. So as far as your trauma bonds, this is something we all need to be working on, and this is something we all need to be healing, because little do you know, you're passing it down to your children. You know what I mean? I've never seen a day in time, man, where I see mothers and daughters fighting each other in the streets, father and sons going toe to toe with each other, sometimes even pulling out pistols because there's hurt and pain. But a lot of times that hurt and pain comes from the adult, because all the child ever wants is to be loved. All they want is to be taken care of. And even if they don't have much, the one thing that they do have, they have their mom, they have their dad, they gave them a genuine brand of love. But if that love comes with a lot of complaints, it comes with a lot of disappointment, it comes with a lot of impatience, it comes with high expectations these kids can't fulfill, then that's a trauma bond that you're putting down to them. And I suggest that we really work on those so we don't continue to pass these things to our children. That's about value, not about love. Moving on to the next. Living your second childhood. Kind of staying in the lane of parenting, right? Going back to what Rob Love said, when we became the worst parents ever in the 90s, I would have to agree with that. Because instead of raising our kids, we wanted to still be in the clubs. People had kids and was like, I'm still going to live my life regardless if I had kids. I saw this mentality. Mom stopped cooking. Mom started giving kids McDonald's. You know what I mean? Dad stopped really wanting to raise kids, letting the TV raise the kids. And then you at the football game telling him to man up and do this, but he never seen the manhood in you. He never seen you solve any problems. We still wanted to be out in the streets amongst each other. As I said earlier, we wanted to just be around each other, see each other, see how one another's doing. As Ice Cube used to say in his song, who's fucking who and who's getting fat. That's all we cared about, but we didn't care about them kids. But you know who did care about them kids? Grandma. A lot of times when I have conversations with people, and I always ask them, if you had one more chance, and I think I have an episode up called One More Day. If you had one more time to talk to one person who's made their transition, who would it be and what would the conversation be about? And the majority of people that I ask that question to, it's always grandma. You know why? Because grandma is the one that raised me. I had my mama, had my dad, but they was in the streets, still acting like they was in high school, in the clubs, chasing whoever they think they wanted, right? In and out of jobs, taking trips. And they thought that they can compensate by taking me to the mall, buying me Jordans and iPhones. All I wanted was just the love of a parent. But now, you look at these women, they in the club with their daughters shaking ass, and they think that's a claim to fame. You see these guys out here with their sons doing the most destructive things, and they think that's what it's about, but they live in a second childhood. And then we wonder why most of the children don't respect you. If you're going to act the same way as the children act, if you're trying to be hip and cool the same way the youth is at, they know they can't draw youth from you because you're doing the same thing that they doing. They don't respect you. They going back to grandma and they going to grandpa. Because there was once upon a time in a generation that when you got older, you just got older. You didn't get caught up with a lot of that stuff. That most people nowadays say that, I guess these millennials have this attitude of, I'm going to do me. The kid's going to be all right. I can honestly say, when I was growing up, we was with my mama. We wasn't with our grandmother. I can say the same thing for all my cousins. They weren't with their mothers. They wasn't always with their grandparents all the time. We were raised in the home with a mother and a father. And I know everybody's not fortunate to have that. And I'm not trying to toss anything in your face. I'm simply saying that we surrendered raising children to still act like children, living a second childhood as if we were never going to grow up, as if we were never going to get old. Spend too much time and energy on bullshit. That's why a lot of people right now, later in life, still struggling with finances and debt. Because of the stuff that you spent the money on, when actually that money would have came out a whole lot better had you invested that time and energy into your children. And the one thing that I'm grateful for the former generations, they didn't try to act cool. They didn't try to act hip. You know what I mean? And when my dad and my mom took us on trips, they did it when we were young. Can you imagine what it'd be like? I don't know what it'd be like if I would have walked in my grandmama's house and she in there rapping "Fuck the Police" by NWA. I would have looked at her completely different. You know what I'm saying? Or one of my uncles out there, he in some skinny jeans with a purse, acting like he young. I would have looked at him completely different. So with this second childhood, it's crazy, it's warped, and it's hurting our children. That's black culture. Who else does this? Who else encourages this? And I think a lot of times, especially with our children, and I know Nickelodeon and these teen channels used to show the reality of the European child, and our children thought that was the same. As if they can live it up forever, party forever, do things, and there wouldn't be no repercussions. There wouldn't be no consequences because they don't understand the reality as being prisoners in the total global system of white supremacy. But if you're going to still be the child, who's going to raise the child? And that's all I'm saying. But that's black culture. But we think that shit is cool. Just like I told y'all, I say this all the time on every show. One of the most hideous shits I ever seen is a 65-year-old woman bragging about how big her ass is. She didn't say anything about the wisdom she put in her grandchildren. She didn't say anything about a business she may have owned that may have been successful. She didn't say anything about how she helped other young ladies become better mothers. She didn't say anything about how to cook certain foods or how to heal a sick child. She was bragging about having an ass at 65 years old, basking in genetics, but no brains. Let's move on to the next. Body alterations and surgeries. I don't get it. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing used to always say, the late brilliant Dr. Francis Cress Welsing used to always say, God said, I made you black, but it wasn't good enough. And you still wanted to alter your body. You don't like your full figures. You don't like the darkness of the skin. You don't like the nappiness of your hair. But the thing about it is when you look at the Bible and you understand the description of Christ or the God figure, Yahweh, right? He had skin like fine brass and hair like lamb's wool. Now you show me a lamb in the world that's got straight hair that just hangs, and I'm gonna tell you that's probably a goddamn clone. That's a clone. That's not a. You have to understand. What God did you serve? Who made you the nigga that you are today? Who made you hate yourself so much that you will alter yourself and you will make the Asian community rich off of self-hate? My cousin Greg said on the last episode that this system makes billions of dollars off of black dysfunction. And y'all have all the rationale, all the excuses of why you do what you do in your appearance. And I said it in another episode. Those are nigga suits. But these surgeries, because you don't like your nose too big, and then the infamous damn BBL that is killing y'all. If you don't have an ass, so what? Do y'all know one thing? Most women who consider themselves to be the bad bitch, they the ones that never get married. Most men marry a woman and we ain't giving a damn about how big the ass is. A lot of time we ain't even worried about how good of a cook you are. We just look for quality womanhood to keep the house balanced, to deal with children and to deal with us as we would deal with you. But these surgeries, and I hear guys are getting DDLs now. Like, these surgeries have got to stop. People love who you are. There's somebody out here, you're going to be a complete rock star too, just the way that you are. And then a lot of times, so many alterations we get, we draw the people that we despise the most because it's a nigga suit. If your breast, listen, I understand some women out here got big breast back problems. I get it. I got it. But if you don't have big breasts, you just don't have big breasts. If you don't have an ass, you just don't have an ass. If your Johnson is just not sizable, it's just not sizable. I know, listen, I got a lot of homegirls who are married to men who ain't well endowed, but they are in love, loyal, committed because it's mental. When love is love, that's when the cheating happens. But when there's value, that's when there's stability and loyalty. We have to understand the science of life. We have to understand these things. One of my favorite degrees when I became Knowledge 120 was the knowledge build destroy degree. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? It was the knowledge build destroy degree in the 1 through 40. And it said, what's the duty of a civilized man? The duty of a civilized man is to teach he who is savage righteousness. Hold on. Because if I get this wrong, I'm going to get bombed because I know that God going to call me. Is to teach he who is savage righteousness. Oh, my goodness. Well, I can't quote that degree, but what I say this is love, peace, and happiness, and the science of everything in life. Now, there's a few things in that degree that I completely forgot. I have not been in 120 years, and I know I'm going to get bombed, but that's what the culture is about. The culture don't allow you to slip. That's one thing I've always loved about the 5% Nation. Let's see, the duty of a civilized man is to teach he who is savage righteousness. civilization, righteousness, love, peace, and happiness, and the science of everything in life. I think that's the degree. I know that was one of my favorite degrees, though. It's just some degrees you just don't forget, but I believe that's the degree and how it goes. So, but that's just one of those things, man, is that just love who you are. Body alterations, altering yourself, as they say in the nation, grafting yourself is completely unnatural. And over time, I don't know why y'all not listening to the testimonies of these people who have gotten these surgeries. It becomes a total nightmare. It becomes a health defect. You got these things, you got these little implants in your body where, I guess the silicone fiber don't hold, and you got toxins to your body and almost kill you instantly. It's not that serious. And you still don't get the guy you want. You still don't get the baller you want. You still don't get the chick that you want. You understand? People, love yourself. We got to stop it with these surgeries, man. And then y'all be talking about self-love. That ain't fucking self-love. I don't care how you chop it up. That is not self-love. That is self-hate. If you confident, you know what? The one thing that is most attractive to anybody is intelligence, not a body part. Because that body part is only used to draw a few minutes of lust. That's it. Now, when you get done with all that, now who are you? A dumbass with a BBL, a dumbass who got bigger breasts, a dumbass who got a bigger Johnson, right? And you eventually are no longer marketable to an individual. You're no longer interesting to an individual. Y'all use that money for something more constructive. We got to stop with these surgeries. That is self-hate. Love yourself out the gate. Parents teach these babies, give them dolls, especially little girls. Give them dark-skinned dolls, give them nappy dolls, give them Afro puffs locks. Listen, we got to stop with that. If you don't have a butt, you just simply don't have a butt. Ask a woman that's got an ass. She would gladly give you some of her ass. Having an ass ain't everything. And I know y'all like, why you gonna say that? You ain't no woman, you ain't no man. I can do what I want to do. Yeah, you can. But don't ever come try to date me, because if I find out you got a BBL or whatever, it's over. It's flat out over, because that tells me something about your mental landscape. Well, I can't say that about everybody. So I can't say that about everybody. My wife might have a BBL. The woman I might marry, she might have a BBL. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And then, I'm going to have money. I'm going to have to get it fixed in case it busts one day or some shit like that. Who knows? Listen, in hostility towards one another, black culture teaches us to hate one another for the most minute reasons. This must stop. These things must stop. The person that you're mad at who looks like you has no power over your life in the structural sense. They're not going to turn off your lights. They can't perform gentrification to move you out of your house. They don't create a job that you have to go to. And it's sad to see, because most of the time we're hostile with each other, and we're civil, human citizens, model people, model citizens with people who don't look like us. But a lot of y'all walking around here talking about you believe in God, children of the Most High, or some of you are Muslims, or some Hebrew Israelites. But when you see one of your own kind, the most hostility comes from your DNA. It just comes. Y'all can feel it. You can cut it thick. Just hostile towards one another. And see, that's one of the things about being on code. People always talk about the code. Listen, one of my codes is when I see somebody look like me, I speak, I nod, and I try to encourage them. I seen a young man the other day. He had a whole bunch of facial tattoos. I nodded at the young man. Hey, how you doing? He just rolled his eyes and looked at me like he was all that. I'm like, you know what? He's probably a punk. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll be mean to me, but as soon as the white man show up, he's going to greet that white man with a smile. He's going to be peaceful with that white man. He's going to think that white man can add more value to his life or teach him something that a black man can't. And that's sad. That's sad, man. Just like even on the jobs, I hear it all the time. Black women working with other black women on the job, so much hostility, jealousy, strife, and envy, right? But that ain't codification, people. If we that intelligent, if we that smart, again, and you want to brag about having your master's degree, not your degree, but your master's degree, as my cousin Greg said it, that was like a bomb moment, then you probably are going to behave accordingly. But if you're on code and you got some intelligence and you're compassionate and in tune with humanity, you have to learn how to have peace around people. You have to learn how to be polite, kind of cordial. And I know a lot of y'all saying, man, that's some soft shit. That's punk shit. Well, let me tell you something. It's the peaceful man that will kill you, not the guy that's walking around like he tough and buff. It ain't the thug. It's the peaceful man that will kill you, because the peaceful man understands the science of peace, but he also understands the science of war. And you better take a lot of value in what I just told you. There's nothing wrong with being kind and cordial. It will take you a long way in life. Walking around mean and mad, don't want to speak to nobody, like you a sucker. You straight sucker for that. You a straight bitch, a punk for that. That don't mean you tough. That don't mean nothing. That just means you a person that's struggling and don't know how to deal with real situations and real problems that don't involve you putting your hands on somebody. There's nothing wrong with being kind of cordial. I'm gonna be kind of cordial towards everybody I see because I don't care. I don't subscribe to black culture. And that's what we do on a daily basis because we don't do anything outside of these perimeters of behaviors. Very few on a very small scale, right? That's in hostility towards one another. Wrapping it up. Gender reveal and divorce parties. Like, who in the hell came up with this retarded procedure? And I have to say this. And you know why I hate to see gender reveal parties? Because 9 times out of 10, the mom and the father ain't going to make it. And 9 times out of 10, whether it's a boy or a girl, y'all are going to allow the system to raise it and be confused because you're not going to counter anything that this baby's going to learn in the schools. You're not going to counter the interception of European values, interests, and principles upon the psychosis of your child, right? You're just proud that you're having a baby and it's a boy and it's a girl. All right. So once you biologically reproduce this baby, what do you feed this baby psychologically? And is the mother going to continue to allow the father to take care of the child on his own terms? Or is she going to go right to the court system 5 years later after they had a gender reveal party? You reveal the gender, but you don't reveal the culture. You don't reveal the parenting that will give this child critical tools to survive. This is why I don't understand this shit. It's another thing to show off to other black people. You get a crowd of people to come around to determine the gender, and that's fine, people. I celebrate the birthing of black life on this planet. But after the fact, what are you going to get besides that? Tell me. Nothing. Chaos and destruction. Because you all don't have a clue or a plan for that child's existence. Neither do you have a structure on how you're going to raise that child. And these divorce parties, mainly about women. And I seen a dude do this one time, and I can understand why the men do it because, you know, sometimes the men might come out on top. But that happens very so often, right? Now, I'm not saying women don't have a story to tell when it comes to divorce. There are some fucked up men out here. There are some abusive men out here. Demonstrative men. Men have done some evil things, from abusing the women, molesting children. I get it. But to have you're celebrating the breakdown of a family? Listen, I understand you hurt. I understand you in pain. But you're going to celebrate it? Or heal from it? Which one? Again, that's black culture. And black culture is silly, stupid, primitive, tacky, trashy, and terroristic. That's according to the code. So that's something that we need to end almost ASAP overnight, right? Next thing, sexualizing business. Can I deal with any woman, black woman, when it comes to business? Whether I want to deal with real estate, whether I want to get my taxes solved, whether I want to complete anything of any business measure. Can you do it without being half-ass naked? Can you do it without being on social media presenting a whole nother image that has nothing to do with business? And some people say, well, they do that because sex sells. Not here. I want to do business. I don't want to do you. I don't care about if you think you that chick. I don't care if you're trying to drive traffic to social media. The most powerful women that I know, the most sharpest women that I know, have on clothes. You know what I mean? I don't want to go on your social media handle if you just finish my taxes, which is kind of a telltale sign of us again showing off. You know, if I go on there and my tax lady is twerking, get your taxes. Let me twerk them dollars. Like, come on, just say, hey, just do my taxes. Yo, I had a doctor come on my show one time, man. And it's crazy because she's like a clinical therapist, right? To try to help people. And what people do in their own time is on them. But man, but to see her twerking, that did something to me. I'm like, most of the women that come to you, they're twerking. You know what I'm saying? Why are they twerking? Because they wanted it to cry for whatever the case may be. But I don't know. It just bothers me. Well, we don't have to sexualize business. And that go for the men too. We don't have to add sex into business. We don't always have to get with each other when we do business. Let's stop sexualizing business. We're like we hate when white people say the black community is oversexed and hyper. We are oversexed and hypersexual. We are. It's not a joke. It's real, and we don't want to deal with it because a white person said it. It's the truth. It's time out for that, man. I ain't saying people shouldn't be attracted to each other. You know, like attraction is sexual, but goddamn, you know what I'm saying? I mean, how we gonna continue to just bludgeon it? We don't have no course of completion and resulting things and getting things done. Like, I don't know, man. And I'm not saying other communities ain't like this, because I know a lot of y'all want to look at these videos and be like, well, white folks doing this. Listen, man, I ain't concerned about white folks, because white folks don't have the reality that we have in the total system of white supremacy. Our reality is different. Our consequences are different. So when I present certain things that deal with us, this is supposed to be razor sharp, on point, and on edge for us to benefit, to become the best people that we can be. All right. I'm winding it up, y'all, but I had to get this up because y'all always asking about what's black culture. You always talking about black culture. Now, black business culture. Y'all on the clock. There's so many black businesses I do not grace anymore. And what I've learned is, and if you talk to anybody who has dealt with black businesses, where they've hired somebody to work on a house, they've hired somebody to work on a car, you know, they might have hired somebody to do money investment. We do each other the worst way. The black businesses that I was supposedly supporting, I'm close to, once they saw me so often, they just pretty much took advantage of me. They just took my dollar for granted. They didn't treat me the same. They didn't acknowledge me. There's always attitudes. And it's sad that in the area that I live here in Stonecrest, Georgia, I don't grace not one damn black business. I refuse. I ain't even been to the new Black Wall Street because I know the only thing they're going to have in there is incense, chicken, clothes, music, art. There ain't going to be a damn thing in there that I can benefit from. But, you know, a lot of people say it's a dope gallery. Now, you know, that's the thing to rock your boat. Fine. Not me. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's a damn shame that most of the people that I trust in business don't even look like me. And we're still in the first phase. Like, black people are still learning how to do business. We're still in that first phase. You understand? We don't know how to value each other. You know, when I come into your business, don't talk daddy or what you know. Don't talk cool and slick. Don't say what's up, my nigga. No, I ain't your nigga. I'm your customer. Right? Don't get relaxed with me. You know, one time I dealt with a black salesman at a car lot. This motherfucker want to tell me about I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but he wants to talk about the damn radio. I'm like, bro, the hell with the radio. What does tell me about the car? But because he thought he knew me and that's black culture. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, nigga. This a JVC. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, what size is the engine? Big. Like, you know, just with black businesses, man, y'all got to do better. And we got to do better as those who support us. Don't go in no black business trying to get a discount, because you don't do that when you go to Gucci and Prada stores. You ain't asking them for a discount. So don't ask the people who are trying to run a respectable business for discounts. And you know what? I know I've done a lot of business with my people, and I know a lot of times a lot of stuff that they do is overpriced. The product may not be up to par, but it's still somebody who looks like me I'm going to support. I'm not even going to make that complaint. But as far as these black businesses, man, you know, and sometimes I can't really always put it on the owner, because a lot of times people are hiring the worst people to be employees. They're worse to the customers. But I'm saying, as far as black businesses, y'all on the clock. You know, people always say support black businesses, support black businesses. I'm not in that place no more. I'm going to support the business that values me, values my presence, values my dollar, and will always be respectful and kind to me, regardless to whom or what. It does not matter. So keep that in mind. Black businesses, y'all are on the clock. And I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to support, but it just ain't there anymore. All right. Getting to the last two. Know-it-all Negroes. I'm going to say it like this. There's a lot of Negroes walking around thinking that they know everything, right? And that's even been said about me. And I know for damn sure that when I talk to people, the first thing that I say is, I'm still learning. I don't know nothing. I ain't no know-it-all Negro. I'm very confident in what I know, right? I consider myself to be intelligent, but I only really hear that from women who I make insecure from my intelligence, because they thought that beauty was going to sway me. They thought that sex was going to sway me. And when they see that small talk irritates me, the first thing they say, oh, you're cocky and arrogant. I'm not cocky and arrogant. I'm not a know-it-all Negro, but I don't like small talk. But as long as the system of white supremacy still exists, don't a nigga know nothing. And I'm going to say it again. As long as the system of white supremacy exists and we have not solved that problem, in my eyes, I don't know about the rest of the world or the people, you don't know shit. Because if you can't solve that problem, you can't solve nothing else, in my opinion. And everything else that you could teach me, you're only teaching me how to maneuver within the system that they already know that you playing. They already know how you playing that game. They set this system up. They are 500 years ahead of us in thought. They know what cities will look like 500 years from now. They know the infrastructure of money 500 years from now. Not to mention that we're 500 years behind in wealth. So let's stop walking around with our chest stuck out, or, like, again, you educated Negroes. And those the hardest niggas to deal with is those who have college degrees in education, who have their master's degree, thinking that they know every damn thing, and you can't tell them nothing based on what the books say. But they don't even have common intelligence and common knowledge to solve simple problems. So at the end of the day, don't walk around me acting like you know everything. Now, there are people who do have constructive, positive information. I'm all ears. But don't ever walk around with your chest stuck out, because I can hit you with a barrage of questions that I know you can't answer, and I could put you to a task that I know is impossible for you to solve by yourself as a sole proprietor. Whatever you think of yourself or whatever you think you can achieve and accomplish, I'm going to let you have at it. But these know-it-all Negroes, check yourself. Because if we can't solve the biggest problem, y'all don't even want to talk about racism and white supremacy. Check yourself, all right? Stop the cap, because you ain't impressing me at all. Lastly, indoctrination and white worship. What I find funny is that we always scream racism. That's racist. You're discriminating. We look at the most heinous acts committed upon non-white people who are unarmed by race soldiers. And y'all will still turn around and take your children to go see white movies that portray white men as intelligent, masculine, heterosexual. You will allow your children to eat this, right? Or you always hear black people complaining because the Oscars don't treat black actors right, and the Emmys didn't do, and y'all still go and support their movies. Y'all still go and support their music. Y'all still support they atrocities and they tragedies, while you neglect your own. You're worshiping whiteness. There's certain movies I don't watch because I don't worship whiteness. I'm civilized with white people. I have no issue with white people. I am not hatred towards white people, but I don't worship whiteness. But I do worship humanity. You understand what I'm saying? Well, the only worship that I give is to the Most High. But I'm civilized with humanity. That's all I care about. I ain't worshiping nothing outside of that. I worship my own kind. I worship the greatness of blackness in its most powerful form, when it's being constructive, doing right and exact powerful things. That's it. But if I want to go see a good movie, I'm not going to see John Wick. I might go see Hoodlum. A lot of you Negroes, y'all legacy, y'all always call yourself the black something, the black Rambo. I'm the black this. Why not just be you without putting the legacy, without tying whiteness to your legacy? A lot of you Negroes who are street niggas, y'all love Scarface. You know what I'm saying? And like De La Soul said, you know what I'm saying? Italians don't care what y'all niggas do. Italians ain't never ran with your crew. But then if I mention the movie Ragtime, y'all never heard of it. With Colehouse Walker. That's my gangster. You understand? Or Bumpy Knuckles from the movie Hoodlum. Right? What you know about that? Y'all don't, because you worship whiteness. That is black culture. So wrapping this thing up, man. We are the people who don't know how to solve the problems that we're facing. We're just like the people of Israel, the children of Israel. They were only supposed to be in the wilderness for 11 days. They were there for 40 years. 40 years because of the wrong adaptation of a culture. Not taking care of business. Always wanting to party and bullshit. The wrong sacrifices. Turning their back on God. Not following the instructions. You know what I'm saying? Moses led them. Or should I say Musa, which is Hebrew for Moses. We're those very same people today. We still in the wilderness. We still wandering for 40 years because we don't want to come out of this shit called black culture. I remember it was a time that if you were smart and got good grades, they said you were being white. No, that's black culture to say an ignorant statement like that. And all we want to do is party and bullshit because we want to escape from the reality of white supremacy, racism, because we hadn't figured out how to solve that problem. And that's why I forever say, when you come to this platform, we bring it sexy back to the everyday hardworking men and women who impact your life within close proximity. We want to rise above this madness, which is called black culture. I don't want no parts of it. I want humanity to work. I want you to work. I want you to understand life outside of what we were taught and raised and to believe and think. And let me say this. I don't want to make a sweeping indictment on all non-white people, but the majority of us, as we say in the nation, as they used to say in the nation, the 85% are deaf, dumb, and blind, worshiping the mystery God. And then you got the 10% that are the bloodsuckers of the poor. Then you got the very 5% who are the poor righteous teachers of the planet Earth, showing and proving that the black man is God. And he is, when he understands who he is and how to solve problems. I thank you for sitting in with me. I didn't mean to really take the episode this long, but people ask me all the time, what's black culture? What's black? You always talking about black culture. Well, I just wanted to break it down to you. Some of these elements that I named, that's all black culture. That's all bullshit. And we need to come up out of that. And I'm encouraging us to come out of it. Once again, man, I want to thank those who have subscribed, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. Tell a problem solver to come on in. Let me go ahead and put that up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Trying to grow the platform, man. Eventually, man, I think I'm going to be good at this, man. I'm gonna get like Joe Rogan, but I ain't going to call myself the Black Joe Rogan. I'm going to be Jahai Messiah Yousef, hosting Humanity Works podcast, right? If you're on IG, man, I'm on IG. I got to stop saying, man. I'm on IG at Humanity Works podcast on IG. Most of the music that you hear, that's by my cousin Mo Banger. He's out there in Arizona. He's a gifted producer. And also too, man, I got an email, Humanity Works Podcast Gmail. I haven't put it up in a while, but if you have any questions, any one-on-ones for any booking information, please shoot me messages right there. I respond quickly and I respond accordingly. Earlier, I ran an advertisement for the BSA, which is the Black Student Advocate, my good brother Jerry L. Green. This is for to help teachers who are being bullied by administration boards, and this is all for students who are being bullied, whether it's another student, whether it's a teacher, or if they're being done wrong in the school system. This is the number 833-925-1957, and these people get results. So, man, as far as I just said, man, again, y'all bear with me, man. Damn it, I just said it again. Jesus. Y'all bear with me, brothers and sisters. You know, sometimes, man, sometimes I'm on my game some days, and some days I'm not, man. But I'm really, I just said, man, again. Jesus, I just said it again. Hey, this is the place where we're bringing Stacey back to the everyday men and women who impact your life within close proximity. We want to rise above this madness, which is called black culture. And until next time, man. God damn it, I just said it again. Something's really the fuck wrong with me, man. I try to stop saying man, but you know what I'm saying? But yeah, until next time, man, y'all be damn. Until next time, man, y'all be easy.